Hey guys, welcome back. I hope you had a really great weekend. So, last week was a wild week. We had a pretty solid down week, and you could see that I have Monday and Tuesday going into Wednesday here. I was sick last week, which is why this chart looks so funny, but I'm still going to go over as much as I can because there is a ton of stuff that we need to review, that we need to know. So last week on Monday, we started right here. This big candle is the 9:30 candle on Monday, and we were underneath the 30-minute 200 moving average and underneath the 35 EMA, and that 35 EMA came down right here. We got a death cross first thing Monday morning, and that 35 EMA ended up being resistance for the entire week. Now Monday we did close within the implied move. Tuesday we closed within the implied move. Wednesday we also closed within the implied move, and then Thursday was a huge down day. So right here is the 4-hour 200 moving average. On Tuesday that caught us. We took it back up to the 35 EMA. 35 EMA pushed us back down, and you could see it was a pretty strong resistance here, and we got smacked down on Thursday. We tried to hold this 4-hour 200 moving average and we couldn't, but just underneath us, and this is something I say over and over again, island gaps will always fill. This is a gap that goes back to right here. We have this down gap and this up gap, and overlapping gaps will absolutely always fill. And on Thursday, that was the target. You could see right here, we dropped underneath that 4-hour 200 moving average, dropped into that gap. At first, we almost found support right when we closed out just the bear gap, and then we came back up and dropped, filled it almost completely, and this is a point to the bulls here because this was not completely closed out. We do have buying support right here at the bottom of this gap. And this dashed line right here, that is also a support that we have been seeing all the way back here in the end of 2024. So that's around 584, even a little further back. I think we saw that, right here. This is November of 2024. We saw that as support. This is on top of the election gap, and we did see a bounce on that level right there. Let's go back, and there we are. So dashed line, that was that previous support. Island gap, all of that together did bring us back up, and we did leave a little bit of that gap open, possibly signaling a reversal. Now, I am not bullish here, but technical bounces are a real thing, and in downtrend markets, we can get really big swings when VIX gets up there, and right now VIX is just under 20, so we had a few days of amazing volatility. And oftentimes after big drops, we do see a big pop as well, right into some interesting resistance levels. So death cross on Monday and straight down. All right, and then SPX, same thing over here. Monday, Tuesday going into Wednesday is all I had charted out. I was sick, and I'm even surprised right now that my voice is letting me do this video. So in SPX, I'm not going to go over the whole thing here because SPY was basically the same, but we did have that death cross. Once that 35 EMA crossed underneath the 30-minute 200 moving average, that 35 EMA was resistance all through the week. Now we did close above the 35 EMA right at the 4-hour 200 moving average. So big down week last week, but we did have a green day on Friday. SPY closed up 1.56%, SPX up 1.59%, VIX came down 7.1%, and I don't know if we closed within the implied move because I was sick and bad, and I'm guessing we did because with VIX around 20, a 2% move would be pretty normal, but I'm not going to say for certain. And let's take it over to QQQ. QQQ had a very similar week in regards to that death cross we saw. The 35 EMA crossed underneath the 35 EMA on Monday. So if we zoom back a little bit, you could see this 35 EMA right here has been finding support above the 30-minute 200 moving average. As long as the 35 EMA is above the 30-minute 200 moving average, we're bullish. but the second it crosses down, watch out. So as soon as we saw that death cross on Monday, we saw that sell off and resistance right at that 35 EMA. We did see a bounce here on the 4-hour 200 moving average. This is on Tuesday. We bounced 4-hour 200 moving average back up to the 35 EMA, resistance there. 50-day moving average was facing down, and also right here, we didn't quite get up to it. That 35 EMA was doing a great job of keeping the price down. So we broke underneath that 4-hour 200 moving average here and dropped out. So big down week, big up day on Friday though, up 1.58%. And VXN down 5.94%. VXN is up at 22. That is still very high volatility. So 2% moves in either direction would be pretty normal at this level. And then IWM. IWM, also big down week. We started right here on Monday. We did close within the implied move. Tuesday, we also closed within the implied move. This is Tuesday going into Wednesday. We closed basically within the implied move every day, even with the big swings. And you could see the 35 EMA here. We saw the death cross much earlier in the month here. It was back here. Nope, this is the 1-hour time frame one. So let's add the death cross right here. That is on the 30-minute time frame. So we saw that back on February 7th. A few days later, we saw it on the 1-hour time frame. And once that 35 EMA went underneath the 30-minute 200 moving average, we were bearish, and that was a resistance. So then on Monday here, we started well underneath that 35 EMA, and we saw that level as resistance for the entire week. We did bounce here for a little bit, and I do have to zoom out. I'm not sure what that line is. Let's see if we can find where it is support. Okay, so we did bounce on this previous support, but we did not hold it. And we dropped underneath it. We did actually close above that level, but we dropped underneath it at first. So again, if the only takeaway you have is that when we're trading underneath the 30-minute 200 moving average, that 35 EMA is resistance. And look at all of these moving averages here. That 50-day moving average still solidly down, 30-minute down, 1-hour down, 4-hour flat. I haven't checked where the 1 day is or the 1 week, but really interesting stuff here. But again, after a week like this, it's definitely possible that we see a huge move up into this downward momentum. IWM up 1.06%, RVX down 5.16%, and we did close within the implied move. I'm sticking to that even though I don't know for sure. And I am definitely losing my voice here. I've got one more to go. DIA. DIA had a very, very choppy sideways week, and we have the 50-day moving average was right here. And we did see that as a resistance, though we did close above it. Last Friday, we did see a big pop up, closing up 1.39%, but the rest of the week was pretty choppy. We did find a little bit of support on this up gap. We didn't even touch this up gap, but we did see a little bit of buying in this up gap right here. That goes back to January 16th. This gap was completely filled on Friday, and as soon as it filled, we saw it as a massive bouncing spot. So DIA, the only one to have an up week, but don't get too excited because that 50-day moving average is still facing down. And that doesn't mean we have to go lower. It means we might even consolidate here. We do have support here, resistance here, and that could give us an interesting trading range here. All right, somehow I managed to get through this video without losing my voice. Tomorrow's trading ranges will be out on TradingView before markets open. The link is right here in case I forget to put it in the comments. And have fun tomorrow. Trade safe. Make sure you take profits when you're up, and I will see you guys tomorrow night.